It's time for the Kelly Kelly Show on the Tan Talk Radio Network with your hosts, Kelly Kelly and Doug Kelly. Kelly is an award-winning photographer and travel writer, as well as the publisher of the popular ColorfulClearwater.com blog. And Doug is the author of 3 published books and a contributing editor for Florida Sportsman magazine. Now, here they are.
All right. Well, thank you for being with us. I had an interesting Friday through Monday. I went down to Fort Lauderdale and celebrated belatedly my son's birthday. And in doing so, he has a wonderful connection at the football stadium. And so he gets us into the Dolphins games, and we buy cheap tickets, and then he upgrades us. He takes us down and puts them in a box or puts us in the front row and what have you. And that was really great. It's the second time he's done that. Real nice fellow to do so. And not to get into the entire Dolphins game, it was kind of boring, to tell you the truth. It was not a lot of fireworks, despite as great as Tua is, the quarterback there. But they did beat the Raiders 20-13. A lot of a large contingency of Raiders backers came, and they're based in Las Vegas now. And then you could tell that they were high rollers, but they were completely soused. You know, they come by bus to the stadium, bus back to their hotel room. They were loud. They were awful. And then they I'm sure they had bets down on the game. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But at any rate, they did prevail. Unfortunately, our Tampa Bay Buccaneers did not. They went on the road to San Francisco. The 49ers kind of handed it to them. And I think it was, 27-14? Big Ed Davis is here. Ed is the executive producer of the Tan Talk Radio Network and quite the guru when it comes to sports, especially the Bucs. What say you about the Bucs' performance?
Well, first of all, you have to understand the Raiders fans. They have a group that is in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Now, those people that you see are the ones that are outside. The people that are in Las Vegas don't get paroled enough to get out of Vegas, so they have to stay there. So the other people that you see are just fair weather fans that happen to like them.
They are loud. They were loud.
The Bucs did not win the game, although they did a few things that went right. They got off the plane. Yeah. Nobody got hurt.
Right.
They got off the bus to the stadium. Nobody got hurt.
Nobody broke a leg.
Everybody got dressed. Everybody looked good in uniform. Other than that, that was it.
I see. Yes. Forget the performance on the field where they scored 2 touchdowns.
Could have shut it off right there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a shame.
There is a rumor that they're thinking about changing their mascot to a possum.
Yeah.
He plays dead at home and gets killed on the road.
Yeah. Very good. I like that one. I like that one. And that from Aaron Fodeman, one of our guests coming up, as well as Margaret Word Burnside. And we'll introduce them a little bit after we do our intro. And around the rest of the...
We are live on Facebook.
We are.
Right now at the Kelly Kelly Show page. Mm-hmm. We're also podcast at internetradiopros.com. Mm-hmm. And we're live on YouTube.
We are indeed.
At Tan Talk Radio.
And we actually do have a contingent of people who listen in the podcast, because that goes worldwide. Naturally, people can access it and come in and hit your link. People who used to live here like to stay in touch with what's going on in the neighborhoods, etc.
Sure.
And we have some people in Germany and Spain and Africa, etc. So it's kind of neat.
Yes.
Kind of neat.
Yes, it is.
But let me wind up also the football. I know it might be dead to the ears of a lot of people, but just basically, besides the Bucs and besides the Dolphins, Florida State won. One of our schools, they're 10-0 and rated 4th in the nation, which is pretty good for them. I'm sorry to hear it, actually, but being a University of Miami alumni, and they lost again too. And then the South Florida Bulls, last year they were only 1-11. This year they're 5-6, so they're still in a losing season, but at least they're winning a few games. So that's really great. The Gators fought an incredible game. I don't know if anyone here watched it, against Missouri. They were rated 10th in the nation and had the game. It ended up being 33-31. They traded field goals in the last couple of minutes each one, and it was quite thrilling, but they did lose. Next week is a big game. Florida State plays the Gators. I don't like either team, but I do hope the Gators win. It's a matter of who you dislike the most, you know. And of course, I'm
Sort
saying
of
this.
a presidential election.
Yes. You take the least of the two choices. This way it always works out. And of course, I joke. I'm at Florida State and University of Florida and University of South Florida. They're all good schools. So I regress. But at any rate,
you do.
I do.
You regress too often.
I'm a regressive type of person. What can I tell you? So before we go to our first break, I want to ask you this question, true or false. There is a band named A Life-Threatening Buttocks Condition.
What?
Is that true or false? Now, this was written, a couple of years back. It may not be now, but at least at some point in time, there was a band called A Life-Threatening Buttocks Condition. Is that true or false?
It's got to be true,
Wow.
because
I'd like to
there's
know
always a band named something.
I
I'd
know.
like to know what led you to look that up.
Well, it's called the Book of Useless Information.
Oh, okay. There you go.
And your picture's on the front of it,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact.
I have to say that is useless information.
Yes.
Written by Doug Kelly.
There, of course. Anyway, we'll be back right after a word from some of our sponsors. So don't go away. We'll be right back, and we'll give you the answer to the trivia question.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
In 1955, the law firm now known as Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes made a decision. Instead of taking whatever cases came through their doors, they decided to focus specifically on personal injury. 64 years later, the law firm is one of Clearwater's longest-running personal injury firms. Available 24 hours a day with offices in Clearwater and throughout Tampa Bay, they're ready to put decades of experience to work for you if you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or injured due to someone's negligence or recklessness. If you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or unsure about your next steps after being involved in an accident or after a loved one sustained serious injuries due to someone else's negligence, call Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes at 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. That's 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. Non-attorney spokesman.
Shop the largest selection of Guy Harvey apparel, artwork, and gift items at GuyHarvey.com. From the world-renowned marine wildlife artist, the Guy Harvey online shop features the latest in performance apparel, classic Guy Harvey t-shirts, decor for every room in your home, exquisite ocean-inspired jewelry, and unique gift items, including custom merchandise not available anyplace else. Browse an extensive catalog of original Guy Harvey works of art and a full range of beautiful reproductions. As with all Guy Harvey merchandise, a percentage of sales benefits the ocean conservation, research, and education work of the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation. The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation will help ensure that future generations can enjoy and benefit from a well-balanced ocean ecosystem. Bring the undersea world into your everyday life at GuyHarvey.com.
Do you know what a truly special blog is? It's a website that's rated as one of the best in Florida, chock full of fantastic articles, humor, videos, and hundreds of cool pictures. So what blog is creating all that buzz? It's ColorfulClearwater.com, a blog on the internet created by Kelly Kelly. ColorfulClearwater.com is gaining in popularity every day due to its original writing and original videos and photography. It's updated several times per week with fresh content and includes everything about the color, culture, and vibrancy of Clearwater's citizens and businesses. Even though it covers just one city in Florida, ColorfulClearwater.com nonetheless is already outperforming blogs promoting tourist destinations and major sports teams. Hey, see for yourself. Give a visit to ColorfulClearwater.com and make it your source of enlightening insights and entertainment. That's ColorfulClearwater.com.
These days, amidst supply chain issues, staffing crises, and rising energy bills, it's not easy to be a successful entrepreneur in Clearwater. For many, financial fears have led to sleepless nights. On top of that, many more have employees and customers that they're trying to protect and reassure. A monumental task when they themselves are struggling with burnout. We're all experiencing a lot of intense emotions. So where can you find safe harbor? At Amplify Clearwater. Amplify Clearwater is your Chamber of Commerce, and the name says it all, to make Clearwater larger, greater, stronger. Here you'll find like-minded members who are seeking opportunities to learn from each other, to collaborate, network, support, and do business together. Every business owner's goal in 2022 is to grow their business. If you need help, your friends at Amplify Clearwater are here for you. Submit your application today at amplifyclearwater.com/join.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
All righty. Thank you kindly for sticking with us. And before the break, we asked you a trivia question, and that was, true or false, there's a band named A Life-Threatening Buttocks Condition. And one of our guests said, if that's so stupid and crazy that it has to be true. And it is. It is. It is absolutely true. And I just, got to wonder what it was, what kind of condition, but maybe I don't want to know.
No, you don't.
Too much information. But I got that out of this book of useless info. But I'm here with my better half, Kelly, better 3/4 actually, and also Big Ed Davis, who is executive producer, and he's handling the control room for us today too, as he does every week.
And he neglected to mention, but you are listening to the Kelly Show.
Oh, yes. Did I indeed? And I'm Doug Kelly, and it's Kelly, the namesake of the show.
Absolutely. So our guests today are very well known in Tampa Bay, Aaron Bodeman and Margaret Ward Burnside. They're the publishers and editors of Tampa Bay Magazine. So I think everybody in this area knows Tampa Bay Magazine.
It's a beautiful publication. It really is. We're going to get into that. We're going to find out a little bit about their background, because that's equally interesting, if not more so. And first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you. We're
Glad to be here.
All right. Awesome. You've been here before. Been a couple of years.
Yes, indeed.
But it's great to see you again. You all don't look like you've aged a bit. So whatever you're eating or drinking or doing,
I
keep
want
it
the
up.
secret.
That's right. That's right. Like time machines.
Absolutely.
But at any rate, tell us, first of all, let's introduce Margaret Ward Burnside, and tell us about your travails. Were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Clearwater.
Oh, my gosh. You're a native.
Mm-hmm.
And she's wearing a grass skirt today, too. So it works out perfectly.
I like to say she's a Morton plant baby. And when she was born, Morton was still a bush and hadn't become a plant.
Oh, that's
He's
super.
so charming.
Yeah, yes.
Yes, he is.
Yep. And
He is.
so tell us about you've had a very interesting life. Tell us about what's up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it was wonderful growing up in Clearwater,
Mhm.
actually. I mean, people don't realize it was the downtown, it was bustling, and we used to get dressed up to go downtown. And, you could dine there, you could shop, there were all kinds of things going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we went in the summer to the beach
Yeah.
almost every day.
Wow.
And
I bet the beach was not like it is today.
not at all.
Yeah.
What was
There
it
were-
like back then?
The fun thing I thought was we used to park the car under the shade of Australian pines.
Hmm.
And the only bad thing about
That's
that
something.
was when you're walking barefoot, they have the little burrs that are their
Oh,
seeds.
yeah.
Oh,
So you had to watch where you're stepping.
Ugh.
But it was just so beautiful.
Yeah.
Parking the car there, and you could see the water and the white sand beyond
Hmm.
that you were walking to.
that's gorgeous scenario for sure. And they didn't have all the hotels and the condos and
They
none of
had
that.
very few buildings.
Mm-hmm.
There were some, and we went to whatever there was. The Palm Pavilion was there.
Yes. Right.
And that's where you went if you wanted a bathing suit
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
whole town. That was it.
Right. Right.
And Cleveland Street ran right down to the beach.
Oh,
Straight
yes.
to the beach.
Down the hill to the beach.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. Incredible.
It was great.
And you mentioned something interesting too, because I'm a fan really of old pictures and old videos. And I kind of marveled at the fact that back then people dressed so much nicer. Now, I know we're in Florida and it's informal, but it's kind of cool to see everybody attending a sports event, men dressed in a jacket and tie, women all nice and neatly dressed. It was just a different era
Oh,
and
yes.
thought,
I mean, we sometimes used to put on gloves to go downtown,
Yeah,
which when you think back, who would have thought that in
I know.
Florida?
I know.
Especially.
And then to see the cars too,
Mhm.
the cars of that era,
Oh, yeah.
our era.
Mhm.
I'm older than you, I'm sure, but
I
at the-
doubt it.
I'm up there, but I think the Dead Sea wasn't even sick when I was born. But
Oh,
So, what got you into all the things that you started to do vocationally?
Well, I went to Stevens College in Columbia, Missouri, and it was a bit of an eye-opener because I really, in Clearwater, had never really been to plays much or heard concerts.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I played the piano and the organ, I played by ear and didn't learn how to read the music, but I could just do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't go out and hear other people doing it
Right.
because it wasn't going on here that much.
Right.
By comparison to how it is now. Ruth Eckerd Hall was not here, and
Mm-hmm.
none of that. And but at Stevens, they had all kinds of things going on, so I was involved in all of it.
Wow.
And
It's-
it was just really an
Eye-opening.
eye-opener.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Huh.
And it was fun. And so then when I came back here, I was all of a sudden on the committee to build Ruth Eckerd Hall, all those kind of things, where before I probably wouldn't have cared
Mm-hmm.
or even thought it was necessary.
Did
And
you meet Jack Eckerd
Oh, we already knew him.
and Ruth?
Yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
No kidding.
Their daughter, Kathy Swan, was one of my good friends growing up.
No kidding.
Well, really her daughter.
And you were a model.
Oh,
And
yes.
you still are a
Still
model.
are a model.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not as much as there used to be.
Mm-hmm.
There used
That's
to be
impressive,
so
though.
much going on here
Yeah.
in the whole Tampa Bay area.
Yep.
It'd be going to Sarasota and St. Pete and Tampa and all over.
And it probably didn't take as long to get to Sarasota as it does today.
No, I can remember Moss Brothers store flying me down there.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is too much. Well, you're still beautiful. You're still doing modeling,
Sweet, thank you.
and then you took on a Herculean job with this Tampa Bay magazine. We're going to talk about that in just a moment, but we want to bring into it also Aaron Fodeman, and you've got a very, very rounded, I would guess you could say, tremendous variety of things that you've been involved in your life. Tell us about that.
Well, my mother used to say she was interested to see what I'd end up being when I finally grew up.
And you haven't grown up
And I
yet.
haven't grown up yet. But,
I'm sorry I took your line there, right?
but it's all right because I was fortunate enough in 1960 to graduate from law school.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, Jack Kennedy was recruiting for his administration with the program he called the Best and Brightest. And he brought me to Washington, and I stayed in Washington working for every president from Kennedy through
Wow.
Carter for 18 years.
That's amazing.
So
that
that
awesome.
was my first bit of luck. And my next bit of luck is when I left the White House and had no idea what I was going to do with myself. One of my old classmates from Tulane University in New Orleans,
Mhm.
where I'd gone to college, called, and they were looking for the president of Popeye's famous fried chicken. And strangely enough, I had been a franchisee of Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Huh.
So I knew the fried chicken business, and I went to become president of Popeyes. And
That's something.
from there, the Kapok Tree chain that was headquartered down here was offered to Popeyes, and Popeyes turned it down, but I was fascinated by it, and I decided to buy it myself. So I ended up buying the Kapok Tree chain, and that's how I came to Clearwater, and that was 40 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been a wonderful, wonderful time ever since for me.
Well, that opens up a lot of different questions. First of all, you went to work with Jack Kennedy, President John Kennedy. You got to ask you this. I know you get peppered all the time with that kind of relationship. You met him. What was he like?
He was wonderful. Of course, you have to understand, I was 22 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and he was the epitome of what I thought I wanted to be when I grew up,
Mhm.
which was a womanizer. He loved James Bond. I mean, it was, he was Peck's bad boy, just like I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
So we loved him because he was just a regular guy
Yeah.
who you could sit down and talk to at any time, and he'd talk about the things that you'd talk about.
Not pretentious or at all. Huh?
Oh, not in the least.
Mhm.
Not in the least.
That's fantastic. And then, despite, of course, his background and the family prominence and wealth, whatever, he still was just a regular guy.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. That's super. And so the next person, Lyndon Johnson. Any reflections on Lyndon Johnson?
Well, Lyndon was one of those people that once Jack got shot, we were all ready to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And Lyndon knew that, and he came to us and he said, "Don't leave. And I know that you don't want to work with me because I'm not like Jack."
Right.
He says, "But I'll tell you, I want you to keep working on whatever you were working on, and I will show you how to get it done." And so from not liking the man, we went to admiring him because he really got through many of the programs that Kennedy was working on, and we were getting nowhere.
Yeah.
And he was wonderful as far as making government work. They need him today at Washington.
Well, not only that, he was a pioneer in the civil rights movement and the civil rights legislation that he was able to pass, even with the opposition from many Southern politicians.
But I assure you, that wasn't his idea.
It was yours?
No, it wasn't mine. But it was Jack's. Primarily, that was part of Jack's.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, working on civil rights, and he was from Texas, so civil rights was really not something in his normal wheelhouse.
I gotcha.
But he understood times were changing, and he was a practical individual who understood that as president of the United States, his job was to make everything work.
Yeah. I had my sister's first husband was a ham operator, and so was Lyndon Johnson. And he would get on at the ranch down in Texas, and after he got tanked up a little bit, and he was quite blue. His language was very, shall we say, salty.
Well, you have to understand, in Texas, that is not unusual.
True.
And it's not just Texas. There's the famous story in the White House that after Harry Truman was giving a speech, somebody came up to me and said, you got to get Harry to stop saying manure in all his speeches. She says, it's taken me 20 years to get him to say manure.
That's a good one. That's a good anecdote. I hadn't heard that one either. That's super. Well, I tell you what, Ed, I think we're going to take another short break, and then we're going to come back and talk a little bit more with Aaron and Margaret. But first, I've got the next teaser. This one isn't quite as revolting as the last one. Is this true or false? The avocado has the most calories of any fruit, and it is considered a fruit, the avocado. Is that true or false? Okay, so we're going to give you the answer to that. So stay with us. We'll be back right after these short messages.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
In 1955, the law firm now known as Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes made a decision. Instead of taking whatever cases came through their doors, they decided to focus specifically on personal injury. 64 years later, the law firm is one of Clearwater's longest-running personal injury firms. Available 24 hours a day with offices in Clearwater and throughout Tampa Bay, they're ready to put decades of experience to work for you if you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or injured due to someone's negligence or recklessness. If you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or unsure about your next steps after being involved in an accident or after a loved one sustained serious injuries due to someone else's negligence, call Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes at 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. That's 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. Non-attorney spokesman.
Shop the largest selection of Guy Harvey apparel, artwork, and gift items at guyharvey.com. From the world-renowned marine wildlife artist, The Guy Harvey online shop features the latest in performance apparel, classic Guy Harvey t-shirts, decor for every room in your home, exquisite ocean-inspired jewelry, and unique gift items, including custom merchandise not available anyplace else. Browse an extensive catalog of original Guy Harvey works of art and a full range of beautiful reproductions. As with all Guy Harvey merchandise, a percentage of sales benefits the ocean conservation, research, and education work of the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation. The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation will help ensure that future generations can enjoy and benefit from a well-balanced ocean ecosystem. Bring the undersea world into your everyday life at GuyHarvey.com.
Do you know what a truly special blog is? It's a website that's rated as one of the best in Florida, chock full of fantastic articles, humor, videos, and hundreds of cool pictures. So what blog is creating all that buzz? It's ColorfulClearwater.com, a blog on the internet created by Kelly Kelly. ColorfulClearwater.com is gaining in popularity every day due to its original writing and original videos and photography. It's updated several times per week with fresh content and includes everything about the color, culture, and vibrancy of Clearwater's citizens and businesses. Even though it covers just one city in Florida, ColorfulClearwater.com nonetheless is already outperforming blogs promoting tourist destinations and major sports teams. Hey, see for yourself. Give a visit to ColorfulClearwater.com and make it your source of enlightening insights and entertainment. That's ColorfulClearwater.com.
Ask any successful entrepreneur. They'll tell you that the fundamental way to grow a business is through strategic connections. Relationships drive business. Forming a solid network of reliable contacts is essential to your growth. And there's no better way to get connected in Clearwater than through membership in Amplify Clearwater, your Chamber of Commerce for Clearwater and Clearwater Beach. Amplify Clearwater is your first level of support. Membership affords you the opportunity to meet like-minded business owners you otherwise wouldn't have met. You'll be able to collaborate, network, support, bond, and do business with each other. Interested? Then visit amplifyclearwater.com. There you'll find all the information you need to make an informed decision and start the membership application process. Amplify Clearwater. One community, one chamber, one vision. Join today at amplifyclearwater.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Thanks for listening to the Kelly Kelly Show. I'm Kelly Kelly. I'm here with Doug Kelly, my better half. And before the break, Doug asked, is it true or false that the avocado has the most calories of any fruit? And that indeed is true. And we both have avocado for breakfast.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
And we're, especially me, I'm evident of the fact that it's puts on a lot of calories. If you saw me, I've been compared to a manatee by my slow movement and size before.
I've actually never had avocado up until about 3 or 4 years ago. I thought it looked disgusting.
Really?
But I love it.
Yeah, kind of tasty.
See, try something you don't know about. And speaking of which, we're here with Aaron Bodeman and Margaret Word Burnside. They're the publishers and editors of Tampa Bay Magazine. And you've been traveling everywhere.
Well, yes. Tell us. I mean, you have traveled the globe pretty much. So give us a little rundown of some of your favorite places.
Well, Barcelona's our probably most favorite in Europe. But
why?
Well, the people are exciting, and you can walk all around there. And as you're walking, you see the Gaudi buildings and just spectacular architecture. And then when you go inside, it's even more spectacular. What do you think?
And it's right there on the Mediterranean. So you've got all the beauty of a seaside town. You've got art all throughout the area. And it's just one of those comfortable places to be, as Margaret says, and also the fact that it's easy to get around. You can just walk around and feel very safe, very comfortable.
They have very wide streets, and they're filled with people. Just walking all along.
That's colorful.
Being friendly and chatting.
Yeah. So I'm going to back up a little. You owned at one time Cape Hawk Tree and the chain. Why did you sell that? There's a lot of us that miss it.
Well, you have to understand that when I first bought it, I bought it not to run as restaurants.
Ah,
All 5 of the restaurants were on very large parcels of ground, and I had experience developing office buildings up in Washington, D.C., and I saw this as a great opportunity to buy the public corporation and then sell off the pieces of property.
gotcha.
So we bought control of the public corporation for $5 million, and we had what we calculated at the time was approximately $15 million worth of property.
Wow.
And as time went on, it became worth even more.
Mm-hmm.
So we sold off each one of the pieces of property one at a time until the final, because property had become worth far more than what you could make running the restaurant.
Mm-hmm. Sure, that makes
Okay.
perfect sense. And for those who aren't familiar with the kapok tree, it was very, very iconic.
Well, it
It
was
was-
the largest restaurant in the country. We had 1,750 seats here in Clearwater.
I didn't know
We'd
that.
serve 5,000 to 6,000 meals a day.
Wow.
We served over
Phenomenal.
1 million people a year at that one restaurant.
Jeez.
And as you say, it was before Disney. It was at a time when most people had never seen anything quite like that. We had 8 different dining rooms, each one with a totally different theme. We had beautiful gardens. We had
Statues.
statues. We had a mall. It was
It was unique.
something for people to see.
It was unique. It was
It
an
is true.
experience.
Yeah.
It wasn't just going somewhere to sit down and eat. It was a whole
Experience.
It was visual as well as you know.
We had entertainers going all throughout the restaurant.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it
so
was-
you decided how to start Tampa Bay Magazine. How did that come about?
That was your idea.
Margaret,
You're blaming him.
it, it was very simple. I had the good fortune of growing up in Stamford, Connecticut, which was a suburb of New York City.
Mhm.
And we were accustomed to thinking as it being a metropolitan area. We traveled back and forth. And even though I lived in Connecticut, we knew we were part of New York.
Mhm.
When I went to Washington, D.C. is also a metropolitan area because it's a relatively small town that's surrounded by Maryland and Virginia. Both of those places had what we call lifestyle magazines. In New York, it was New York Magazine. And in Washington, it was Washingtonian. And while I lived in both of those places, I was a very devoted reader to both of those because you found out what was going on in the area, had all the information you wanted.
Mhm.
And when I moved down here, one of the very difficult things for me to do is to find out things that I normally would have found out within these magazines.
Mhm.
Because Tampa, St. Pete, and Clearwater were doing their very best to keep themselves apart from each
I
other.
see. Mm.
And in fact, a company
That was a perfect formula for you then.
Yeah, so a company
Yeah.
would come down here and go to Pinellas County, and they'd tell them everything that was wrong with Hillsborough. They go to Hillsborough, and Hillsborough would tell them, "Oh, Pinellas is terrible. You don't want to be there. There's old people." And the next thing you know, the company would open up in Austin, Texas.
Ah,
And I wanted the area to thrive because I had my investment here. And to me, it was very clear that Tampa Bay, as a metropolitan area, was the 13th largest area in the country, which it still is today. And
Mhm.
people are just beginning to recognize that.
Mhm. Yep.
We're right behind Detroit. And believe me, we're about to take over Detroit.
Sure.
So when I would go around and talk to different groups about Pinellas County would claim the airport in Tampa was theirs. Tampa would claim that the beaches in Pinellas County were part of theirs. I said, let's put it all together. And then you really have something. And so Tampa Bay was the obvious name, but everybody was saying, no, Tampa is a body of water. We don't live in a body of water.
Right. I've heard that.
And fortunately, the Buccaneers took the name. And the next thing that happened was the Rays, the Lightning was the next one. And the Lightning took the name. And then the Rays took the name. And of course, when the Rays took the name, everybody was really upset because St. Petersburg said, we paid for this stadium, you should be using our name. But they still chose the name Tampa Bay because they realized they wanted to appeal to the entire area.
Of course. Widen your appeal.
12 years ago, the whole argument was settled when the St. Petersburg Times changed its name to Tampa Bay Times.
Absolutely.
And that was sort of the official stamp of approval that, okay, we're now Tampa Bay.
Gotcha. Ed, you wanted in.
Well, touching on the Rays and stuff, that it's actually starting up again because you have Tampa and St. Peter still vying for who's going to get the new stadium. And actually, and this is where it comes from. People that live here don't bring this up. It's the people that are trying to represent us, the people that are in the city and the county and stuff. We actually have county members or the city of St. Pete that want, if the Rays are going to stay there, they want the name St. Pete Rays. So there you go. Now we're going to divide again.
Yeah. They're always going to have some elements like that, I think.
On the other hand, the people arguing that now are saying, well, the reason is we're paying for it.
Right.
He says if we could get Tampa to put up half the money, then we'd be glad to keep it. And one of the solutions I've heard, they want them to call it Tampa Bay Rays of St. Petersburg.
Oh, no.
That's horrible.
I mean, and we know that doesn't work.
No.
It's like nobody calls it Raymond James Stadium. It's Ray J.
Yeah, sure.
So,
sure. Absolutely. No, it makes perfect sense. And for those not familiar with the magazine, it's colorful. You've got all kinds of, you cover different things. Margaret, tell us about the content some.
It's a little bit of everything. And we feel like we're our own typical reader of our target readers. And so if we like something, we put it in the magazine. If we don't like it, it probably won't get in there. And we have dining. We're really big on dining. People will even carry it around to look up where to go eat because we have a section in the back that, besides describing them, lists them alphabetically by their area. And so, people are going, well, this is where we are. Let's see what's around here.
And it's a high-end publication.
Right.
It's very high-quality stock, paper, glossy, excellent images.
Oh, thank you. We tried.
And you have lots of different events in there that you highlight.
Definitely. And there's a lot going on here. It's amazing. We have a calendar of events, and then we'll go and cover an event and take photos and write about it and, tell about it, hoping, they're all charity events usually, hoping that, people will start supporting the charity and become part of it.
Sure.
And the event section is day by day. And when you look at it, it's amazing all the different things that go on because between Ruth Eckerd Hall, the Strauss Center, the Florida Orchestra, and all our museums, we've got a cultural situation here that is almost unparalleled anyplace else.
Yeah, that's true.
It's sort of like with our sports situation. There are very few places that have the three major league teams that we have here.
Yes.
So we've got so much that whatever somebody is interested in, we have something there for them.
Sure. And it's a beautiful publication. And I'm going to hold it up. Some people are watching on Facebook, some on YouTube, and also we have some in the podcast. You can also see it as well. So
Who does the writing?
We both do.
You both do.
okay.
We're both the first of 4 children, so we're both kind of control freaks. So if somebody else writes it, we probably rewrite it a bit.
I got you.
I like to claim that I can write better than anybody that can write faster, and I can write faster than anybody that can write better. So we really enjoy it. But the one thing I do know is I never put anything in the magazine until Margaret has edited it.
Very smart. That's
Very
how you,
smart.
That's how you keep a togetherness too, right? You don't overrule each other or what have you.
No.
Yeah, we
Yes.
really do.
No.
Well, we both kind of think the same, luckily.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
So we don't
That helps.
clash on
Yeah,
things.
That's
we,
good.
we don't overrule each other
Right.
because the rule is Margaret's right, and if Margaret's wrong, you go back to rule number 1.
That's it.
Margaret's right.
Oh,
Very-
come on. It's not quite like that.
So how many years has the magazine been out?
38.
Wow.
What?
38 years.
I did not know that.
That's tremendous. That's quite a heritage.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people talk about the magazine business. We also published some magazines before, and you don't realize all the moving parts of a magazine
Oh.
with the advertising and with the editorial and putting it together so it's the reader, is drawn into it and doesn't put it down right away.
And delivery, just getting
Yes,
it out
exactly.
to people
Yes.
is something that people don't even think about.
Yep.
It's
It's
true.
more difficult now than it ever used to be.
And then subscriptions.
These are subscriptions.
And again, the
so people
advertising.
have to buy it,
Yes.
but once they do buy it, they hold on to it. And
Mhm.
there's such a difference between something that somebody buys
Yes.
and something that just shows up and there's a stack of them and just pick it up. And
Right. Absolutely.
It's true. It's coffee table quality.
Yeah.
That's
But
what I like to
it
say.
is, but it's
It is.
also something that, like you said,
Useful.
it's useful.
useful.
It's a utility type of a thing.
And we've noticed that some people will keep whichever cover matches their decor on top.
Interesting. Yes.
But more people just keep all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they like to refer back. And we're always honored when somebody says, "Oh, I love that article. I tore it out, made copies, and sent it to all my friends or to our children or whatever." And we think that's a wonderful compliment, and we never try to tell them about copyright laws.
Sure. And just the laying it out, when you do a dummy, the time it takes to put it all in a coherent manner and a pleasing manner, and everything is, runs back to the readership. It's you've obviously got a very faithful following.
And
So-
we have faithful employees. We have a great art department, and then we have a subscription department.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really have to do all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You write it.
Yep.
That's the
And
important
we go to
part.
the events.
Yes.
We used to
Oh, that's
send
a
a
lot of time.
photographer.
Yeah.
And we realized they didn't know who to take a picture of. We knew who we wanted.
Oh, it's true. You know a lot of people here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're control freaks.
And
Yeah.
a lot of people say, gee, it can't be. It'd probably be easy to do a magazine. And I say, yeah, your first copy might be. How about your 34th and your 69th and your 127th?
Yes.
To be able to be in there and to have that quality continuity is not easy.
It isn't easy.
It is
Since
not
we
a
started
simple
it,
thing.
Over 100 have come in and gone out of business.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's exactly right.
And
So-
Aaron says, how can they not get it right? All they have to do is copy us.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
Yeah. True.
I show them how every 2 months.
Yeah.
I give them a blueprint.
Yeah. There you go.
All they have to do is follow what we do.
Yeah.
And yet they don't.
Yep.
Now, one of the things I like is that your readers go to different countries and they hold up.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
Yes, they
Celebrity
hold up a cover of the
travelers.
magazine and take a picture wherever in the world they are.
They'll be in Nepal or Cape Town, Africa, or wherever.
Yeah.
Hawaii.
And it'll kind of move like a lot of people will be going to Antarctica, and then
Yeah.
they're all going someplace else.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
it's a trend.
It is. It's fun. It's fun. As a matter of fact, we regret we just went this past summer to Alaska, and we thought, dadgummit, we didn't bring the Tampa Bay
Bring our
magazine.
Tampa Bay magazine.
You have
Yes.
to keep an old magazine in your suitcase, so when you start packing, it reminds you.
Exactly.
That's true. That's very
Exactly.
smart.
And I tell people even more than that. The magazine weighs a lot.
True.
Tear off the cover. Just take the cover.
Yeah, that's a good
tip.
idea.
But
You
see,
know.
I like it when they take the whole magazine and leave it in some other country,
Hmm.
and then they see our area,
And they hear from people
Yeah.
from different places
Yeah.
like that.
and then
That's,
they want to come here.
Absolutely. Good point.
when I was with Florida Sportsman Magazine, the publisher was a fellow who had been in the newspaper business before, Carl Wickstrom. And he had as his editor a guy named Vic Dunaway. And Vic always had a way with words. And we'd go to lunch sometimes when writers or advertisers would come into the office or what have you. And we did this. I remember one time we had this advertiser with us for a long term. He was sitting and finally Carl says, you haven't had anything in the magazine for a while. And he adds. And the guy said, oh, we got so much business coming in. It's just unbelievable. So Vic immediately said, you need to run an ad telling people not to call you.
He's sharp.
He was quick on his feet. It's wonderful. I mean, you're really to be congratulated. 38 years. That's tremendous.
That's remarkable in these times.
Yes, it is, because like you said, a lot of magazines have hit the dust.
The dust. Yep.
Yeah.
I assure you, publishing for 38 years has not been as difficult as staying happily married.
Excuse me. Whoa.
You still have to work at each, right?
So you have to really work hard.
So
I hear
if
you.
somebody has an event
Mhm.
or they want to advertise, how do they
Or
contact
subscribe.
They just call us.
you? They call you.
We
We pick up
work
the
the
phone.
old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
727-791-4800. And there's no voicemail. We have live people working.
Mhm.
I don't have a separate number. Everything comes through that. We do everything the same way we did 38 years ago because we believe that's what really works best. And nothing frustrates me more
Yeah.
than to call and hear, please leave a message, or worse, go to our website.
Yeah, right. Or even worse, you go in and say, we've recently changed our menu. So push number 1 for this, push
Oh.
number 2 for this, number 3, and then you go to that, and then you got another menu,
Yeah.
So that drives you nuts. And then you end up with a recorded message. You're
So
right.
you
It's
sign up.
very impersonal,
Yes.
extremely.
What is your website?
Do we even have one?
Do you even have
Tampa Bay Magazine.
TampaBayMagazine.com. And by the way, I just typed that into Facebook in case you forget.
We,
I don't know how you could forget, but
again, we feel that anybody that wants to contact us
Mhm.
can. It's very simple. And we take every call. We don't screen any calls.
Mhm.
We talk to everybody.
Yes,
Sometimes it's something that we're interested in. Sometimes it's not.
sure.
But we're certainly going to give everybody the time of day to listen to them.
Yeah, that's so important, especially when you're dealing with writers. I know you do a lot of of the writing yourself, but I'm sure you also have quite a few contributors. And
No,
Mainly
No.
just friends.
yeah,
no,
no, you don't. Okay,
No.
no,
Not
okay,
really.
no.
okay.
Control freaks don't want that.
That's true.
We have John Wilson, who's written
Oh, I know
for
John.
us.
Yeah, he used to be with
Everybody knows John.
Tampa
So,
Tribune. Yeah,
right,
I mean Tampa Bay,
right.
St. Pete Times at that point, and then Tampa Bay.
He was
Yeah.
television, Channel 10 and then Channel 13.
Oh, okay.
13.
Yeah, maybe.
And Dick Crippen.
Oh yeah.
So the
Sure.
two of them have been writing for us for 30 years or
I
so.
gotcha.
And other than that, every once in a while we'll have a guest writer, Paul Wilborn, who used to write for the Times.
Mm-hmm.
Now is head of the Palladium, so he wrote a story for us about the Palladium
Gotcha.
25th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now you do have photographers who contribute, right? Different.
Basically, we
So-
only have 2 photographers
Okay.
that work for us, other than Margaret and myself.
Mm-hmm.
But we do run a annual photography contest that
Mhm.
gives everybody a chance to be in Tampa Bay Magazine.
I see.
And we get some great photos just from readers.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes.
That's super. Well, it's great. It's been wonderful talking to you as always, and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Well,
We
you
love
all
being
too.
here.
Yeah.
And we're-
Special.
It's so nice to chat with you, and you both are such interesting people with such diverse backgrounds and what have you, and
Not unlike the 2 Kellys here.
Just like- just like the Kellys, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always fascinated with Kelly. I think that's so great to be able to say, I'm Kelly.
Yeah, and immediately when she says that over the phone when she's calling somewhere, what's your first name? Kelly. What's your last name? Kelly. No. What is your last name? And she has to repeat it 2 or
Right.
3. And
Yeah.
they say, your name is Kelly.
Right.
And you married him anyway, right?
It gets old.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds like the beginning of a law firm.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
It is
Yeah, it's
indeed.
true. I like that.
Well, we've been talking again with Margaret Word Burnside and Aaron Fodeman, excuse me. And they have a wonderful publication. If you haven't picked it up yet or seen it, you're also on newsstands.
Absolutely.
And of course, you can subscribe to it. And it's just a great thing. And also, when we have a little bit of time, and we do have some, I like to thank a couple of people who help us out too. It's kind of a name dropping situation, but they're celebrities in their own right, and they help us promote our show with an ad that we run on the network here every day, 10, 12 times. I don't know how many. How often does the ad run, Ed?
5 or 6 times.
5 or
5 or
6.
6 times.
I was contracted with at least 10.
Well, you get 20 per week.
Okay.
Okay.
That's awful. Well, anyway, we have Wade Boggs, the great baseball Hall of
We
Famer,
know Wade. He's a great guy.
super guy. And the other is Guy Harvey, who we just talked about
Right.
before.
Wonderful artist.
Tremendous artist, a very creative guy and a conservationist. And the other is Jimmy Johnson, the past coach of the Dallas Cowboys, where they won 2 Super Bowls, and also the University of Miami Hurricanes, the greatest football team probably in the
There
history
we
of the
go.
NCAA. Here we go.
Prejudice.
Kel, it's time to wind things down. Do you have a verse?
I do.
Okay.
It's in everything, give thanks. How about that?
That's not bad at all.
Thanksgiving coming up.
So yes, indeed. And I always leave us with the sage advice that you don't go looking for happiness, you take it with you. And in behalf of Big Ed Davis, Kelly, and myself, thanks for listening to the Kelly Show. Please tune in every Monday, same time, same station, for another edition. Would hope to hear you from. Come and join us every time. We have a great time.
Thanks for listening to the award-winning Kelly Show on the Tan Talk Radio Network.